President Cyril Ramaphosa will receive the final installment of the state capture report electronically later today. The official handover by Commission Chairperson Chief Justice Raymond Zondo will take place tomorrow afternoon at the Union Buildings. President Ramaphosa will now have to present a clear program on action on the implementation of recommendations in Parliament. And Samkele Maseko filed us this report.
A 3-year-long commission finally comes to its conclusion this afternoon with an electronic copy of the state capture report of its final bundle being sent to President Cyril Ramaphosa. The President will receive a physical bundle from the Chief Justice, who is the chairperson of the State Capture Commission, Raymond Zondo, tomorrow afternoon at the Union Buildings. Now, the ball must roll, with law enforcement agencies having to act against those whom have been found to have been fingered in wrongdoing by the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. Wrongdoing has been found in Transnet, in Prasa, Denel, South African Airways, and also the South African Broadcasting Corporation, the SABC. A number of business people, private entities, McKinsey, you go to KPMG, and other entities like EOH have also been found to have acted wrongfully. Some of these private entities have promised to bring back all of the illegal proceeds that they gained from the state capture project. The Gupta family, which is at the heart of the state capture within the country, has also been arrested in Dubai. Extradition is in process to get them back on South African soil to face those charges of money laundering and racketeering. Issues pertaining to the Estina dairy farm will also be pertained in the electronic copy and the final installment to be sent to President Cyril Ramaphosa. The President has pledged to the National Assembly that government will have a clear program of action post this final installment, which will be presented to the people of South Africa and to the National Assembly once the President has applied his mind, and all of those whom are implicated in the executive will have their heads rolling if they are found guilty by the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. The Commission has already recommended that the President take steps and actions against ministers like Zizi Kodwa, further investigations against the Minister of Mineral Resources and Energy, Gwede Mantashe, for his role with Bosasa and the security upgrades at his home. Politicians like Vincent Smith have also been found to be at the center of allegations of corruption, of a dubious relationship with African Global Operations, formerly trading as Bosasa. There is also evidence against individuals like the chairperson of chairpersons within Parliament, Cedric Froelich, whom also has to face the music when it comes to the state capture report. A number of these ministers and deputy ministers have also taken this report on review, like Gwede Mantashe, like Zizi Kodwa, like Thabang Makwetla, whom has also been fingered to have had a dubious relationship with African Global Operations, formerly trading as Bosasa. But the pudding will be in the proof of what happens when the President finally provides a clear program of action of bringing the corrupt to book and heads rolling. Samkele Maseko, SABC News, Johannesburg.
So tonight, that highly anticipated final chapter of the state capture report expected. Legal analyst Mpumelelo Zikalala joins us to share his perspective. Good evening and welcome to the full View Mpumelelo. Midnight, the 15th of June, was the deadline given to deliver this final part. A seventh extension. It's now a seventh extension, and now it's expected at midnight tonight. Some, like the Society for the Advancement of the Constitution, believe the Commission is effectively in contempt of court. Do you read anything into the delays?
We have to. Firstly, I have to say, the Commission is headed by someone who is a judicial officer, so they fully understand the circumstances or the implications of one being delayed when submitting or that ought to submit on time. So unless there's an explanation in which one could even gather in this particular matter, I think they misbehave a bit in terms of submitting this late. I think at the end of the day, they'll have to make maybe a supplementary submission to the President in terms of saying, these are the delays that have caused us to submit it after so many days after it has been late. However, Mr. President, we do assure you that the quality of what we are presenting to you is going to mend our delayedness in this particular matter. But I certainly align myself with the people that say the late submission is purely unacceptable, especially from the caliber of people that fully understand the reasons why things have to be submitted on time.
So, Mpumelelo, this is going to have all the juicy details, as you heard some Kelo share, relating to, among others, this controversial landing by the Guptas at Vaterkloof Air Force Base in 2013, the capture of the State Security Agency, the SABC, the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa, PRASA. You have a special interest in the findings of the SSA, not only institutionally, but as a connection as well to the July unrest. Why?
It's important because we have to see how effective was the State Security Agency. Are we secured? Are we able to say we are protected when it comes to the intelligence of this particular country? If we are, how effective is it? Do we have people, or did we have people that have other ulterior motives except that of defending the country? So it's important to us to know, why was this particular agency not working effectively? One would also remember that at some time it was removed from being a standalone agency or department to being under the wing of the president. So maybe an insight as to why that particular move was taken, as to whether, but most importantly, it is effective or not, is something that we need to answer. Let's remember, a commission is supposed to be there to investigate anything which is of public interest to us as South Africans. So the security of us as South Africans is of utmost importance, which is why I would say we need to know what happened within the State Security Agency. Is there someone to blame? What are the preventive measures that have been there? What has been done today to ensure that we are secure? And all the intelligence that ought to have happened in this particular country, it is happening in a manner that is able to protect us as members of the public.
We're going to circle back to that point you're raising now in just a moment, but ostensibly 4 months from now, the President will review the findings and report back to Parliament. What is the process that you believe is likely to flow from that?
I think the law enforcement agencies must already have been started working on this particular matter, and arrest should be imminent and people are supposed to appear in court. But what is mostly a question mark for me is this one. If this particular section of the report is not going to report back and say the law enforcement agencies had these particular issues or impediments in terms of investigating these matters, I would have said the commission would have failed in doing its job. At the end of the day, we need to know, after so much wrongdoing being out there in the public, we do not need a commission which is going to rehash evidence that has already been submitted to them and submit it in a manner which comes in the form of correct English, for a better word. We need a commission which is going to say, we had law enforcement agencies, your police, your SIU, your Hawks that failed to do their duties. Otherwise, we would have had people who are in behind bars at the moment. We need a commission which is going to come back to us and say, the NPA is either working optimally, it's just that there were impediments before, or the NPA is not working optimally. It needs to be restarted so that at the end of the day, we're able to get arrested. The most important question is, 4 years down the line, after all the evidence has been submitted and close to R1 billion that has been spent on this particular commission, what is the value add of this commission? Do we have people who are arrested? Do we have people that are behind bars? Do we have money that has already been collected? Because what worries us the most is that the quality and the quantity of the evidence diminishes over time. So if we're not going to act swiftly and we're not going to have a commission which is going to show us or make recommendations as to how this particular state capture should not happen again, then there's no value for money. There's nothing that we have gained from this whole process except knowing what actually took place. And despite knowing all of that, there's no one who's brought to book about it.
In a way, you've answered the question I was going to ask you next. Of course, Zondo has made the point around the expenditure. You mentioned the amount of 1 billion rand, and saying that if we look at we shouldn't measure the value in terms of the rands and the cents, but overall, the value is far higher in the way that we save money in the future and ways that we prevent future looting. You're asking for concrete outcomes to make sure that there is a new infrastructure of accountability that flows out of what we learned from the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. What would be the anatomy of these new preventative measures, do you think?
Firstly, is to increase the level of accountability within our political principles. So we must know exactly what the president, deputy president, ministers, MECs, and even premiers are supposed to do. But most importantly, what are the repercussions if one fails to act in their duties? You can't have a minister who's going to meddle in the SCM processes of their particular department. And at the end of the day, there are no repercussions which are taking place. We are not going to have a minister, or we ought not to have a minister who's going to fail to deliver at the end of the day, do not be able to, or that particular department is not able to achieve a clean audit, even their performance is dismal, And instead of removing them, you simply take them and place them in another department so that they can continue with the same level of incompetence, for a lack of a better word. At the end of the day, they are there at the behest of the president. The president is given the task of making sure that they are working optimally and they're able to produce all that they need to produce for us as members of the public. If you fail to do your duties, then you must go home. Secondly, if this particular report is not going to say anything about the law enforcement agencies and the workings of the NPA, I would have said, in my view, which has failed in the fact-finding missions of saying, do we have institutions and tools in South Africa of being able to detect corruption and be able to deal with corruption decisively? You can't have people who are going to loot and take away state resources and taxpayers' money. And at the end of the day, the only thing that we can say to them is to say, we're going to catch you at one point in time. Just know that the law is not is against you and we'll catch up with you at some time. We can't have that. We need to have value for money. And the value for money for me is to say there was an X amount of money which was looted. We've been able to get back 60 or 90% of that particular money because at the end of the day, it is taxpayers' money. It should go to our education system, into police so that they're able to protect us at the end of the day. That's the value for money that you are looking for. No matter how big or how small those reports can be, if there's nothing which is tangible, which is we're able to say, from this commission, this is what we're able to achieve, then the commission has failed in terms of doing its job.
Right. Well, you know, if the commission was likened to the elephant that you've got to eat in small pieces, the meal is now done. The digestive part is over, and we'll see exactly how it's going to edify the body of accountability in South Africa. Mpumelelo Zikalala, legal analyst, thank you very much for talking to us this evening. Appreciate your time.